Okay, in the last session, okay, we have done Angular setup and installation. Okay, and I gave some commands to generate some code. Okay, we are going to see the continuation to that one. Observe carefully. Okay, what are the different types of files actually we are going to use here? Okay, in case of UI technology, we are going to write one HTML form. So this HTML form will be having different types of inputs. Okay, and we are going to write one component class. Okay, in the component TypeScript, okay, we are going to use a model. Okay, how many form inputs you have, those many variables we create in the model. In the component, we are going to create this model object. Okay, we are going to write some name, something like OB. Okay, this model contains something like ID, comma, name, and all here. Okay, that's actually property you can call here. Every input must be bound with this object property. Okay, here we have to bound, we have to make a bind. That's actually ob.id. Okay, ob.name here. Like that, we are going to bind that form with a component here. Point number one, you remember here. Forms concept. Okay, we have to create one HTML form to read user data. Okay, for every form, we need to bind with one model object. Model is a TypeScript. It's object, nothing but actually here JSON. In simple, it's a JavaScript object. In component class, in bracket TypeScript here, okay, create object to model. Okay, so at a form, bind object with form inputs. Okay, example, if we just take here, input name is equals to, we are going to write something like ob.name, variable name here. Okay, or field name, whatever it call here. That's important. It's actually called binding. Okay, when you bind actually on submit, form data is taken as JSON object. This actually object is fulfilled here. You can also call it a form binding here. So one form, one HTML form is actually connected with actually one model object, one model class here. So when you enter the data and submit, here, that's actually one object internally JSON. Yeah, it's similar to Java code only. Yeah, you can just compare. Yes, they are also same. When you click on form submit, there we used to call model attribute, right? Okay, but here it's actually JSON object here. Okay, by default that is actually corrected. Now what we need to do here, okay, we have to mention something like on submit. Okay, so here we are going to write the form actually here. Okay, this form and inputs, okay, must be bounded with, okay, that's actually here function and object fields. Okay, form action, we are going to mention a function here. This function actually exists, okay, exist actually inside the your component TypeScript here. Okay, that's going to be connected with one component TypeScript here. Okay, an example, if you just click here, so there you have a submit button. There you have a submit button actually here. Once you click on submit button, it's actually going to call one function here. Okay, it is actually going to call one function. Whatever the data that you enter here, that automatically sync with this object. Okay, there is auto sync concept will be there. If you modify, it will automatically update in the object, whatever the inputs you add. Okay, and then the same object is taken here in the function. Okay, then it is actually going to use service. It's a service TypeScript. So what this service TypeScript will do, it's actually going to use a HTTP client module. Okay, that's HTTP client module. By using this HTTP, we are going to call the post method, URL and object. Okay, so from this function, we are going to call this service. Okay, so it will make the request to backend application here. It will make the request to backend application. From the backend application, you're going to get the response. Once you get the response, that could be any object. It's observable of type. Okay, something here. Okay, it could be storing some data, some text format or JSON format. Response is actually going to come here. Okay, here of course we are going to get the text format only. Okay, we are going to write a text format. Okay, this text format data, okay, we are going to take it into function back here. Okay, this one we are actually taking here. Okay, observable, we have to call a method called subscribe. Okay, so when you call subscribe here, okay, of course we are going to have a success function to call or error function to call. On error what to do, on success what to do, we are going to execute something here. Okay, we are going to write some lambda expression styles here. Okay, so in case of generally success, we'll come back to form and we display some message, whatever the message that you have. Same like your MVC process only, right? Let me revise for a second here. First, create one HTML form. Then define one model equal to this number of inputs. Then create the object inside the component. Okay, bind form with this object. Next, when you click on submit, call this function. Then write a method inside the service that will call post method and pass the URL and object. Okay, it will make request to Spring Boot application and get the response. That response is actually observable. Okay, so it is actually going to hold the text. Okay, we are going to call a subscribe method on success or error. Okay, error, just print some error details. On success message, of course you can use promise too, not issue here, only on success scenario. What you want to do here, error pages you can design, that is also fine. Okay, it's actually going to show this one details, execution flow here like this. There you can see so form data is bounded with object here. Okay, on submit, call one function at component and make call to service. Okay, inside service, okay, use HTTP client. Okay, you have to use HTTP client and make HTTP call, example post method, and send JSON data. Okay, so in the backend application process the request and gets response and provides response. Okay, so once we get the response here, response object is stored inside observable memory. Okay, check using subscribe method with success and error scenarios, error cases. If success, show message at UI, that is actually HTML. Okay, that's our workflow process we are just taking here. You can just see. Okay, first write one form, then write one model. Okay, coding order you want. Actually, we generate actually here. We don't write them, coding order. Generate one model. Okay, so ngg class. Okay, that's actually some name, any name. Okay, next generate one component. Once you generate this, all will come here. NGG component, some name, same name you follow, and avoid unit test cases here. Okay, third one, generate one service. Okay, already I gave these comments. I'm just revising here. NGG service some name. Okay, next fourth one, inject service into component. Constructor injection here we have to do. Fifth one, create object to model inside component. From here we have started. Okay, we have model, create, define HTML file at, it's a component TS, component HTML. Okay. For one input, add one variable at model. For one form input, we can also call here one form input here. Okay, bind form input with, okay, input name. Finally here, okay, call component function on form submit. Okay, next here, make call to service. You have to make call to service from component. Service makes call to, okay, HTTP post URL. Okay, of course you have to pass your object and expected response type you have to mention here. Okay, read response entity data into our front-end concept that is called observable memory. Okay, subscribe or read data at component class. On success, send message to UI. On error, print error at console. Or you can just do whatever you want. You can redirect to some error page even. Okay, you can just define, or you can just create a global error page and you can just specify the same. Okay, these are the basic workflow here. Okay, 1, 2, okay, 3 object creation, 4 binding, okay, 5 submit, 6 function call, 7 is actually going here, 8 request, 9 response, 10 observable here, 11 subscribe, it's a 12A and 12B. Okay, it's actually 13. Like this is a flow. You can just see here. This is a basic flow. Don't worry, I'll revise this one. Okay, you might be looking for very first time. Okay, I'll revise again with the coding step by step. Okay, first I want to explain the concept diagrammatically. Then you will understand the purpose and classes one by one here. Okay, what we are doing, understand the point. Form data converted to JSON. That JSON is sent to backend. In simple, what is the major point here is, okay, HTML form data. You just click on submit, right? Okay, that's actually converted to JSON. That is sent along with a request to JSON to backend. Okay, Now backend is actually giving what here? Response, some text format. Okay, that is actually storing in a memory observable. That we are actually subscribe here. Okay, if it is a success, okay, what we are doing here? Print at HTML. Error, just print it to console or redirect it to one error page. This is a flow. From where you started, there only its end. Okay. From where the execution started, there only its end. Okay, this is a flow, a simple flow here. You can just understand. Wait for a second. This is 7 Mbps. I don't think so. My side issue. No, it's actually system only. Not even laptop. Direct internet connection, not Wi-Fi. Sometimes Zoom issues will come like that. I think when we are switching between these files here, you may get like this. I think it's a Zoom issue. Okay. So we are discussing sending HTML form data to UI. Just wait for a second. Wait for a second. Now you're able to see. Okay. Now observe. So first we have taken one model here. You can just see. Okay, there's a employee class here. You can just see. Then employee service. We have injected HTTP client already and the employee component. Okay, in the employee component already injected service. You can just see this one. See, that is actually going to a call function here. Okay. So that one is actually connected to request and getting the response back. I'm sharing the screen. Now, okay. Yeah. So we'll continue here. Still no. It might be. No, it's actually Zoom issue, it seems. Yeah, we'll continue. That's fine. Now observe here. Not able to see screen. Operating actually. Some people saying not visible, but some people says visible. I'm opening, sir, actually. I'm doing all the operations even. See. Disconnected. Be in the session, everyone. I'll talk to admin. We are going to see here. So we have written backend application, generate one model, okay, generate one component, generate one service, inject service into component, create object to model inside the component here. Okay, like we have seen different types of files. Okay. Now initially we are going to generate the files. Okay, we are going to generate the files. First you look at here. This actually service class. It's the entity, of course, model class and the service class, you can see. Please rejoin, still you are facing same issue. Bhavani Shankar, please rejoin better. Still if you face same issue, I'll stop. Just let me take for 15 more minutes like that. Okay, here service class we are just taking here, you can see. Okay, so this one service, Okay, here it's an entity. That's actually a model, whatever you call here. And there we can go to component file. That's actually injecting the service. Okay. Better I'll stop the session now. We'll continue on Monday class. Okay. Sorry for this issue. We'll continue on Monday class. Even it coding part also will take some time. We'll start on Monday. Yeah, 9 p.m. session we have. If same issue comes there also, there will stop. Okay, 9 p.m. students can join. I think it's a webinar issue or something here. Okay. Next session for your regular classes on Monday.